Good evening. Last week is the last week of
It
this
is.
block, week 8, and it's been a good week for Alice.
It has finally.
I had every confidence in you.
Well, someone had to, didn't they? Yes,
Oh,
finally got my certificate, and now I'm fancier than you, and I can put letters after my name, and you can't.
yet,
Yes.
yet. Well,
So yes, we did. We got there. Um, yeah, very exciting. It was literally, I don't think any of us knew. So with the research, you can literally do them whenever. I think it's something ridiculous, like 4 years you've got to reset them.
yeah.
You can wait that long. But they promised that anyone that had theirs submitted by the 10th, they'd have them marked before graduation. And we were like, well, when are we going to know? Like, what's going to happen? And yeah, yesterday morning, we all received an email at 5 a.m. saying your results will be with you in 12 hours. And I was like, oh no. So I just distracted myself all day. I've been very productive this week. So you need to be more productive, guys. Just do something terrifying and then know
Yeah.
that you're waiting on someone else and distract yourself from it. And apparently it
Swallow
works quite well.
and swallow the frog as well. Don't forget, make sure you
Yes,
swallow the frog. First job of the
do the
day.
worst first.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, very good week. Yes,
So we've now got two MNU
we do.
nutritionists, which is
Yes,
good,
we do.
which is fantastic. Yeah, and we've just been having a discussion about big plans of things that we want to try and do with the program, and so we will be speaking to try and getting in touch with you guys just to get a bit of feedback on how we could improve things as well. So let's go into this one. It's been generally a good 8 weeks. I think we've had
Yeah.
people sort of obviously weight trending down or clothes fitting better, inches lost. There's been runs, carries finished the couch to 5K and is now doing PRs. We've had PRs in lifts, more consistency around kind of movements in general. One of the biggest wins for me, for I think everybody's displayed this at some point throughout the last 8 weeks, is when whether they've been away for a break or there's been an illness or something where the routine's been disrupted,
Mm.
they've been getting back into that routine and returning to it quite quickly, especially around kind of the eating habits and things. And that's fantastic because that's one of the keys to kind of maintaining whatever changes and results you've got. The key to maintaining that is being able to build that routine and the habits and lifestyles around that really, really quickly. So I think that for me is one of the best things to see. It's that changing. I've got a client, Liz, who calls it brainwashing. She says I've brainwashed her. And if that's what it takes, then I am going to go with that. Um,
Yeah, we'll go with it.
it's a change. I think I had a question asked of me this week. It's like how, because obviously I had a big weight loss, and it's how did you maintain it? And I said the thing that I think I realized that had to sink in was I had to change what I was doing. It's like it's the phrase that's attributed to Einstein. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing time
Mm.
after time and expecting different results. And I think I realized that actually losing weight in an extreme way or restrictive or cutting stuff out, getting to a goal weight and then thinking, oh, I'll just go back to my old ways and then expecting my body to kind of not go back to what it was before. It's a bit of a strange one. So I think actually realizing that those habits and lifestyle needs to change, and that's the hard bit. I think, weight loss is easy. The hard bit is actually maintaining the habits and the changes in routines. But we're starting to see that, which is good. Um, right, the key one for this obviously next week's the break week. There will be no call next Thursday, but we will check in with you on the posts. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on the app, check the posts, respond to them. Alice and I will post in there daily as we always do. But focus on the basics. I keep saying that. I know it's break week. That just means that you kind of go it alone for a week and see how you're getting on. Um, it's just keeping the basics the same. Yeah, that's the key thing here. Keep everything going. protein in with every meal, making sure you get your fiber in, steps, sleep, focus on those basics. If you want to have a rest from tracking, or you want to have like a week where the workouts, you might just, if you've been really consistent for 8 weeks and you've really pushed, it is always good within the break week, just maybe to dial back the workouts. If you're coming back from illness, you could use next week as a week to kind of, and we'll cover that in one of the questions. If you're coming back from illness, you could use next week as the week to kind of ease you back in before you go again. So that's the key thing for next week. Um, focus on consistency. Brill. Questions. I'm going to ask the questions as they were written. So, question one. This is from Ree. I never consider or track my carbohydrate intake. Is this something that I should be keeping check of if I want to lose fat? And if so, does reducing carbs make you feel more hungry? So
That's a
we've
good
got
question.
it's a great question. So we have the newly qualified MN dot Nuch. Are those the letters?
M dot N, yeah, NUTR.
Yeah. Mac Nutrition Nutritionist. Um, Over to you.
Take it away. So, the reason that what you see is how we set your program is that we just focus on calories and then your protein target. So you'll see that you have your range for your calories and your range for your protein. That's because that's your most important one. The reason being is that your protein is there for like your muscle building and your recovery from your injury, from your workouts as well. Helps keep you a bit fuller for longer because it's a little bit slower to digest. So that's why we sort of focus on the protein, because out of them, that is the most important one. It then gives you the flexibility with your carbs and your fats to, I guess, eat how it works for you, essentially. Um, there's no need to track them, essentially, as long as you're sitting within your calories, you'll be okay. Because as we've spoke about before, that calorie range is a deficit. So if you're eating in deficit, you will be losing fat. The only time really, I guess, that we or I would recommend to people to be like, right, we need to be hitting these carbs if you're an endurance athlete and you want to be hitting a certain amount every hour for your best performance. But when you're looking at everyday fat loss, like no, it's not necessary to track them. They are your body's preferred source of energy. So they will be it will utilize mostly your carbohydrates, your glycogen stores to keep you going when you're working out, all of those things. Like you will be using your glycogen stores, which come from your consumption of carbohydrates. If you don't eat them, that's fine. Like your body will survive. It's very clever at adapting. Um, you wouldn't necessarily lose fat quicker if you decide to reduce carbs and increase your fats. But what you might find is that um, you would lose your water and then your glycogen stores from your muscle. So you would feel a bit more tired. As I say, it is your body's preferred way of using energy. So if you cut them out or reduce them too low, you may find yourself feeling a little bit more tired. Um, your fiber, a lot of what we get from fiber is your carbohydrates. Like even fruit and vegetables, technically, are a carbohydrate. So you may feel hungrier there if you've got less fiber. Um, so yeah, essentially, you want to be tracking your calories. Don't worry too much about your carbohydrates because they're they're not going to be impacting your fat loss. Certain carbs, I find that certain sorts of carbohydrates like rice will bloat me more than potato or pasta, as an example. So you may feel that certain carbohydrates you react to differently to others. Um, and that bloated feeling, you may then get a spike on the scales, but it's likely just more water weight, the excess food, anything like that, just depending on how your body reacts. But it's not fat. It's as we've said before that any quick rises or falls in the scale weight, it tends to be water weight, glycogen stores. It's not going to be fat. So it won't affect your fat loss progress. It's more how you prefer to eat. But yeah, basically, bottom line, don't worry about them. But I would never advise cutting them out completely.
Yeah, I mean, the only real time you kind of have, like you said, if you're doing, if you're an endurance athlete or you're exercising a lot,
Yeah.
absolutely, it's worth. having keeping an eye on them, but I wouldn't necessarily need to track them down to the gram. It's just making sure that you have a reasonable carbohydrate portion
Yeah.
before you train. Um, the it is if fat loss is the goal, it is 100% down to calories. That's it.
Yeah.
And we always say that. As Alice says, protein first for all of the reasons, particularly satiety. Then I would say fats.
Yeah.
Making sure
You're
that
going to drop into
you're
both.
getting, yeah, so that you don't want to necessarily stress too much and go fat free on everything. It's you want to try and think about that. But again, I think if you focus on calories and protein and then just eat the foods you enjoy, it kind of takes care of
Yeah.
itself. We tend to ask you to think about fiber, so think about fruit and veg. Um, because yeah, if you cut carbs, you reduce your fiber down, you are going to feel less full. Um, and then the other one as well is cravings. What you tend to find is if you massively reduce carbs, there are a couple of different mechanisms that kind of kick in terms of cravings. When you consume carbohydrates, it pretty much instantly releases serotonin in the brain, which is one of your feel good chemicals, makes you feel good. It's linked to dopamine, gives you that reward response as well. When that's low, we tend to crave things that are going to make us feel better. And for a lot of people, that is going to be going for your carby foods. And that's one of the reasons why we go for things like chocolate. Although chocolate is carbs and fat, it's the sugar, it's the simple sugars in there that instantly release that serotonin. Like crisps, crisps have carbohydrates, they do the same thing. Cake, all of these things that we kind of think, but you've got to think that they've got carbs and they release the serotonin and make us feel good. They taste
Yeah.
good, they feel good in the mouth, and then they feel so. Yeah, I would, as Alice said, absolutely echo what Alice has said by saying keep your carbs in. Don't stress too much about tracking them. Kind of eat what you enjoy. But don't cut them too much. And if you want a good guide for how much, remember the hand portion guide. We've gone
Yeah.
over that before, like with your meals. So a palm-sized portion of protein, the thickness and size of your palm. You want two fistfuls of vegetables on your plate, and then either a fist-sized potato or a cupped handful of uncooked rice and pasta. And if you're looking at your meals being constructed like that, um, and a couple of thumbs of fats, you're not going to go far wrong.
Mm.
Yeah, so keep it really simple. Also, if you cut carbs out, you crave them, you binge, you feel guilty, you then over restrict, you crave, you binge, you feel guilty, and you get that cycle, and that's not a really good place to be in. So don't cut stuff out. Question two. This one's from Carrie, and is another really good question. Um, so, what is an ideal heart rate for running at my age? I'm not even going to mention that age. Mine was 170 on yesterday's run, and I do get thumping headaches after. All right. Brilliant question. Love it.
My
Um,
favorite thing here is that Carrie's now a runner.
yes. Do you
Look,
know
you
what
looking at your heart rate.
And the other thing is you'll be really proud of me here because I've encouraged
Go
quite a few of I'm encouraging other clients to do so it's not just strength. I am encouraging people to do a little bit of cardio, something that they enjoy.
on.
Part of it is that if I've got more clients doing stuff like that, it might make me feel more
Like
like
you should.
yeah. I know I should do more cardio, but cardio
I should do more strength. I really should.
cardio is cardio. So
It is.
and it bores me. So, but I do need to do a bit more. So answer the question. Um, the basic, I mean, there's not really very much science behind this, but the rule of thumb is 220 minus your age is your theoretical maximum heart rate. It's a theoretical maximum heart rate. It's not even theoretical, it's a guide. I can't remember where it came from, but I do know that the science behind it is pretty limited. But it's a rough guide for somebody. So it's 220 minus your age. Um, what that does mean is that when you're hitting 170, you're pretty close to your kind of maximum theoretical heart or maximum recommended heart rate, you're at about 95% of it, if I've got the maths right. Um, and that's like, you
Hard.
really, yeah, it's hard. That is like max effort. You should be doing that for short bursts, interval training, like sprint finishes at the end, that sort of thing. And it's only if you are deliberately aiming to get your heart rate up to that. So what you want to try and do is bring it down into, now they use zones for training. Zone one, well, zone zero up to zone four, or zone one to five, depending on which system you use. You should be in around about zone two to three, which for you would put you at about 100, somewhere about 120 up to about 150 beats per minute. Um, Ideally, that's conversational pace. Now, what that might mean is that your pacing for your runs is just a little bit too quick. So just dial it back a touch. Not much, just a touch, and have a look at your heart rate. And if you're wearing one of these trackers, they're actually that's the one thing that they're good at. They are actually really quite good at tracking your heart rate. They're crap at estimating calories, but in terms of tracking heart rate, they're really quite good. So use your watch, especially on runs, to keep an eye on where it is. Um, and then if it's getting sort of above 150, much above 150, just lower the pace. Okay. Gradually, and this is why I say that maximum heart rate thing is not brilliant. Um, Gradually you can actually improve your heart rate so you can lower it, but then also you are more able to push it higher. Wait, fireworks. You're more able to, I don't know why it does that. You're more able to push it higher for longer. So you're kind of building up like your endurance and things. So yeah, aim to bring it down somewhere between 120 and 150. Reduce your pace of your running down to that, and then just see how you feel. And gradually over time, you might find that it reduces naturally anyways. You become more efficient at running. That zone is just the way that um, it's the way that our body utilizes the different energies. So when we're at that sort of zone, we tend to go more towards using fat for energy. Um, it also makes you a little bit more kind of fat adapted. So it means you can then run for longer because as you're running, you're depleting. So Alice mentioned the glycogen stores, your carb stores in your muscles. As you run, you end up depleting that, and this is like when you've completely depleted it, that's when you hit the wall. You know, when you hear about marathon runners like hitting the wall, they've literally run out of glycogen. They've got no carbohydrate, and your body's then got to switch into fat burning mode. And it doesn't do that very quickly. You know, it's kind of got to kind of switch things around. Whereas if you become fat adapted, and you do that just through natural training, you start to burn your fat stores as well as your carbohydrate stores at the same time. But effectively, 120 to 150 BPM is what you need. Um, and just lower your rate, and then gradually over time you'll improve. You still early. I mean, this is the thing. You only finished the Couch to 5K a few weeks ago. You are still a novice runner. And I mean, it's amazing that you did the Couch to 5K, and that progress that you've done is fantastic. But you're still a novice runner. So it's kind of just take your time. And you're trying to kind of you get into the stage where you're like, right, I'm a runner, I'm going to run a marathon. And you just need to kind of build it up slowly. It does take time. But your progress has been fantastic, and it will continue to be that. Headaches wise, um, try drinking some water as you're running, sipping on water as you're running. It could be dehydration. It could be the fact that you are sort of just slightly depleting your carbohydrate stores. That can sometimes trigger it. And then also, if your heart rate is that high, the chances are your blood pressure is going to be a little bit higher. And if you've got high blood pressure, remember your blood's going to be pumping around the body at a high rate, and you've got little tiny blood vessels in your brain, and yeah, they don't like the high blood pressure, so that could be a headache as well. But I think first of all, fantastic for what you've achieved your running. I saw on your stories, I think it was today, you got another PB. Um, that's fantastic. But don't always chase PBs. I think actually now just lower your pace and gradually build it back up again. And it's kind of what you sometimes have to do with your strength. If you want to if you plateau, it's kind of bring it down, build that solid foundation, build back up again.
One thing, just obviously, Will is our sports expert, but more from like a personal experience type of thing. When you're thinking of the ideal heart rate for running, again, it depends what you want to achieve. So, like Will said, like that pushing into that really high zone is where you want your sprints, which will help you improve your pace overall, but you don't want to maintain that. So, on your longer runs is where you want to be sticking to that like zone two.
Yeah,
Um, just for me, as someone who, well, I can't run currently, but when I do, I cannot stay in zone two to save my life. So for me, it is very much I will run, I'll have to keep an eye on my heart rate, and then I'll have to walk for a little bit. So very much like the couch to 5K, just to bring that heart rate back down and then go again. And what you'll find is the more you do it, the more you'll be able to maintain that run before you've got to walk a bit again. And it takes, as Will said, like because you're still very new, that's going to take a lot of time to build that back up. Also, think about your breathing. Try and really focus when you're breathing to try and breathe through your just your nose for as long as possible. It's like really deep breaths in and out through your nose. Then try in through your nose, out through your mouth. And if you're having to then find yourself really just breathing through your mouth, you need to slow it back again. And I think, doing stuff like that, depending on what model, like Garmin's are really good at setting up and you can set your heart rate and it will shout at you if you go too high. Apple Watches, the newer models, what I would do on mine is if you swipe like up, you just see your heart rate zones. So you can just watch where you are in that at a quick glance rather than having to really monitor it. So yeah, if you have got like a smart tracker, yeah, as Will says, like definitely use that. Um, but yeah, headaches, maybe, yeah, try a little bit of carbs, electrolytes,
yeah,
see how you go in as well with that one. But I find not as much on runs, but when I swim, if I swim really hard and I know my heart rate's really high and it's not coming down quickly, I can get really bad headaches. So again, really deep breaths afterwards just to calm yourself back down and bring that heart rate down,
yeah.
not as quickly as possible, but in like a good way to bring that down, and hopefully that will help as well. But keep going.
Yeah, and I think the key thing is actually it does get. I know from when I used to do all the running in the triathlons and things, it's kind of your body gets used to it, it adapts.
Yeah,
So it is just practice. And you're still that novice runner. Even even though you finished it, it's you're still at the start of the running journey. So
keep
keep going.
going. Yeah.
Yeah, keep going. All right, last question. So this one is from Gina, and the question is tips for going back to the gym after illness and building back up. Lower weights or fewer reps and sets. Now, we could both kind of give you, I can give you advice from the trainer's point of view, and Alice is going to give you advice from a personal point of view as well. Um, this one's it's a really simple question, this. But it's a really good one, and it's something that a lot of people get wrong because it isn't just after illness; it's after a period off. So let's say you've been on holiday for a couple of weeks, or if over Christmas you might have a bit of time off because you're really busy. So any kind of sustained period where you've not been to the gym for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, or you might have had an injury. Um, I would basically say you need to lower your weights down to sort of somewhere between, so I would say 50 to 60% of your kind of regular load, right? Not even your maximum load, but your regular load. So if you are used to sort of say leg pressing 120 kilos, then you're looking at around about 50 to 70 kilo leg press just for a short period for a week or two. Slow the reps down. Okay, so you don't necessarily need to lower the rep range, but lower the weights, do the same number of reps, and then really focus on your form, your range of motion, so the actual range that you're moving it through, and then really focus on slowing it down and breathing really well and properly so that you're getting everything right. Um, the big thing or the biggest cause of injury when it comes to strength training after coming back from an illness or injury is that your body is not used to moving in the way that you have done, and it's not the muscles that are going to cause any problems. It's going to be the ligaments and tendons and the joints. So we need to kind of just practice getting them back into that. Okay, so really focus on full. Really focus on getting a full range of motion. Um, and I would actually maybe start even lighter. So like let's say you're normally doing 100 kilos on a leg press and we're working at 50, 60 kilos, maybe just drop it down to 40 for a set. Just really light, really practice that range of motion and then build it up. You might find that 50, 60 kilos is really easy and you think actually I can push it a little bit. Okay, go up to 70, but don't go beyond that. You really need to try it because your body will suffer with DOMs and the recovery process is longer. So really take your time. Um, You could perhaps do two sets instead of three. So you're reducing the total volume of it, and reducing the length of the workout, because that's the other thing I would say is like if you're normally doing an hour, maybe 40 minutes is fine. Just to kind of again reduce the amount of stress because your body's recovering, it's using energy to recover. So make sure that you are giving it time to kind of build up. And the other thing I would say as well, make sure you're well enough. I know sometimes people and I've seen this happen a lot where people are like they've been ill for a couple of weeks and they're sick of being ill and they're missing the gym and they think, right, I'm going back. You need to make sure you're well enough. Okay. Not okay. You might not need to be 100%, but make sure you're at 90% before you go back into the gym. And then you reduce everything and build it back up again. And then going back into normal, you need to make sure you're feeling good. So make sure you're eating well. Are you eating as you normally were before? So you're getting your protein, your carbs in. Are you drinking enough water? Are you sleeping well? Because remember, with illness, that can affect your sleep. So is your sleep back to normal? Um, are your energy levels good? You're not tired? Are they back to where they were? Once that's all right, then you can start to push again. All right. But I think we said a couple of weeks ago, if you're not well,
You're
don't
not well, yeah.
don't train because you're just going to increase your risk of injury, prolong the recovery, and it just makes things worse. So make sure you're well, and then yeah, dial the weight back. Keep the same number of I would keep the same number of reps, but reduce the number of sets that you do. So you do two instead of three. So you reduce the total volume, and then yeah, go from there. Anything else you would add to that?
Don't think so. I think it is like you say, just listen to your body very much. And like you say, you want to stick in that routine, you want to get back to it, which is great, but make sure you're sitting down, checking in with yourself and being like, how do I actually feel? Am I well enough to do this? Because the other thing is you don't want to then do that workout, expend all that energy that you got for the day on that, and then just be completely written off and not
Yeah.
be able to do work or look after the family, whatever else you've got going on. So just be really sensible with it. And like I say, even if you go do a little bit and think, this is too much, I don't feel well, I feel really weak, there's nothing wrong with cutting that session short. So yeah, just really listen to yourself and yeah, like I say, just take it easy and ease back in.
Well, that was the last question. So, book your calls in if you haven't done already, and I will catch up with you. And then, yeah, I will be writing the new programs next week, ready for the week after for those carrying on, to keep you in line over the Christmas period. You could tell it.
6 weeks today.
Oh, don't tell me that.
6 weeks today. I didn't realize I was at work earlier and went, oh yeah, I'll call you in 6 weeks. I won't call you in 6 weeks because none of us will be here.
No. Yeah. So 6 weeks today. Wow.
Yeah, that's it. Not long.
Need to do some Christmas shopping. And then well, the next live call we have, you will have officially graduated.
I will. We'll be celebrating at the graduation next a week
Next
Saturday.
week on Saturday. So
Yes.
yeah, fabulous. All right, then, guys, have a great rest of the week. Keep an eye on the app. We will be posting
Yeah.
it daily. So if you've got any questions or you want any hints and tips, please do drop us a message and we will get back to you. But no, some really good progress. And as I said before, I think the key wins for a lot of people this week, this session, this block has been getting back into routines even after illness and things like that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right, we will speak to you soon. Have a great evening, but it's bye from us.
Bye.